Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, after a grueling and war-torn battle that the drivers of the Tobacco Road Sim Racing had last week at Richmond, we're going to pack things up and we're going to come to a slightly bigger track here, and it's going to be one of my favorites on the iRacing official service. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tobacco Road Cup Series. It's week number 12, and we are at Kansas Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, my name, Mac Nelson. Joining me in the broadcast booth is Mr. James Watson, who will be filling in for the ever so iconic Emmett Crow. He's out this week with a little bit of, I don't know, shenanigans, debauchery. What do you want me to say? I don't know. I don't know what the guy is doing. However, I do have James Watson here. James, how are you feeling about tonight? And do you think it's going to be a fun one?
I'm feeling good. I think it will be. You know, to me, Kansas is one of, if not the best track for the next gen car. You know, it's got everything that this car really seems to need. It's smooth surface, not really having to deal with a whole lot of bumps, a lot of different lines that are viable and usable. So I think we're going to see some fantastic racing up and down the field. Although I say that, we probably still are going to be seeing quite a few people running that Larson line, ripping the lip up there by the wall.
Yeah, I mean, that is the most entertaining line to run for sure. We'll give you the track rundown, located obviously in Kansas City, Kansas. Opened in June of 2001. Length is 1.5 miles, making it one of those intermediate circuits here on the NASCAR calendar. Gonna have about 17 to 20 degree banking inside of the turns with a 10 degree front stretch banking, 5 degree back stretch banking. This place holds 48,000 people, which was the exact attendance of WrestleMania 3. I remember that. Don't ask where it was, because I couldn't tell you. We'll get into the schedule. I'm a big wrestling fan. I'm sure, James, you probably know that already by the amount of references that I make. Anyway, week number 12 here at Kansas. We go to the Roval at Charlotte for week 13, and then we go to Auto Club for 120 laps. That's going to be week number 14 on April 22nd, and then we start the chase. Who's going to make it? Well, that will be decided in just a few weeks' time. Here we go. Looking at the Drivers' Championship standings here. Blake Cannon, I mean, who else? In the lead, 537 points. James McRae was leading for a little bit into the season, but he now trails because Blake Cannon is, well, just simply in God mode himself right now. Travis Everett in P3, GT Irizarry, Brandon McLaughlin gonna round out that top 5. Drivers are taking to the grid now, which means it's time for your starting grid for tonight's race. Oh man, here at Kansas, I cannot wait to get this started. Starting on pole, it's gonna be Gary Braylon, defending champion, In P1, GT Irizarry, Brandon McLaughlin, Travis Everett, Nate Lesko gonna make up your top 5. Scott Matthews, Curtis Preston, James McRae, John Smith, and Patrick Millette get you through the top 10.
And then we have the 34 of Chris Perry and the 93 of Bruce Velasquez on row 6. Row 7 features the 36 of Thomas McLaughlin and the 44 of Blake Cannon, your points leader. 32, or on P15, we have Brad Harris and John Oliviero. On row 8, we have the, I think I'm gonna, things are showing up differently on my end, but we have Chris Toppings in 18th, and rounding out the field is going to be the 48 of James Johnson.
That is going to be the starting grid, and yeah, David Bush III going to be our very nice, clean and controlled race control here, but iRacing pace car is going to be out and away. That means there's only one more thing to do. It's time to go green here at Kansas.
Pretty clean start, but you see the 14 already holding on to the outside, trying to see if he can get the pass done. Talked about that the momentum from the high line is key, but you see Gary able to hold on to the lead off of turn 4.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job. Gary Braylon, your defending champion, part of Quack Pack Racing. He's got the so hungry GT Irizarry down on the bottom side of him. GT said he was looking very closely at the calendar. He had this race circled. Week number 12 here at Kansas. It's one of his favorite tracks on the sim, and he is going to be a force here tonight. Brandon McLaughlin right behind him in that 81 Mustang. Trying his best to keep things cordial here, but there is a little bit of sauce that happened last week. Brandon McLaughlin just technically being wronged on the racetrack. He's going to try to make those into rights here this week, and we were 3 wide there, James.
Yeah, you saw the body language of that car was saying he wanted to take it 3, but just barely backed out of it at the end. Meanwhile, you see a big move from GT, able to get the move done on Braylon. Saw Gary try to fight back, but GT was having none of it. But here they come, looking around the outside again.
Yeah, and it's looking like it's going to be a very vicious race here between these top 4 guys already. Gary Braylon, who is someone who we haven't exactly seen have a ton of pace here so far this season in the Tobacco Road Cup Series. He is the defending champion, but he got a little bit of that championship nerf, I guess you could say, as he hasn't been towards the front, but here he comes around the top side of Brandon McLaughlin. Brandon McLaughlin, another driver who deserves to be up here every single week, but he just gets collected in unfortunate occurrences. Travis Everett going to be passing Scott Matthews and looking for a move on Curtis Preston as well. Travis Everett, part of Outsiders Racing. He, along with his teammates, Curtis Preston being one of them, they're going to need to work together, as that's a little bit of a wall tap. They're going to need to work together if they want to get up the grid here.
Oh, meanwhile, this battle for the lead is crazy. We got 4 cars under a blanket, about near packed up like we're at Daytona or Talladega. Look at that. Look at Lesko with the run. He's all the way up to second, almost out of nowhere.
Yeah, Nate Lesko doing a fantastic job, and this is a driver who, we talk about unfortunate collections in races. It does not get any more unlucky than Nate Lesko. Just to kind of fill you in on a little bit of lore, James, Nate Lesko is the king of the alternative strategy. He is never going on the mainstream strategy. He always has a different plan up his sleeve, and it always looks like it's going to pan out, but when it comes to getting around those back markers, that is when he always finds some unlucky mess to be a part of, as he has got some speed on that number 20 Camry, down on the inside of the 77 of Braylon.
That he does. He just about had the pass done, but Braylon gonna keep the nose to the outside, and here comes Gary with all that speed from the high side, running middle this time. It's gonna allow McLaughlin to try to jump to the outside, make it 3. Is it? Oh, he was like almost rim riding up there.
I think he might have actually been. I think he might have been Chastaining a little bit on that one.
Yeah, you can see that car was all kinds of vibrating. It was not happy, and you see that has cost him a whole lot of pace. Just falling back, almost losing the spot to Irizarry there.
Yeah, and I think he is going to actually lose it to Irizarry, but he is going to try again. Brendan McLaughlin in the 81 Mustang. He will not back down from a fight. He's got it right. Oh, I saw a little bit of sparks flying there. I think he might have just gotten into the wall a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to allow Curtis Preston to get by as well, falling down to P5 with those mishaps with the wall. See, Curtis Preston, we were talking about it before we went on air, how much we love that scheme, man. That Jimmy John scheme's so underrated. To me, way better than even his Jimmy John schemes at SHR.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that is probably one of the more iconic Harvick looks. As, yeah, I mean, just, I feel like all the liveries back then, I mean, James Johnson as well in the number 48, James Johnson, unfortunately, going to be all the way back in P18. I'm not even entirely sure what had happened to him.
Yeah, I don't think he put in a qualifying lap at all. No, he didn't, and that was a shock because I think he was fastest in practice, so you would have expected him to put that speed in qualifying, but didn't happen, and now he's just kind of riding around all by himself, it would appear.
Yeah, aimless with no direction, really, is what I'd like to call it for the XLJG racing driver. He unfortunately got lifted from his spot on the team a few weeks ago. I think it was around week 7, week 8, maybe at North Wilkesboro was his last race, a part of LJG, if my memory serves me correctly. But he's been very, very good. Through these races that he has gone solo, he's kind of stepped out from the LJG umbrella.
Sorry to cut you off there, Mac, but I think Curtis Preston might have had a huge issue. I just saw him up in the wall a little bit ago. Oh, my goodness.
No.
I'd say he's got a big issue.
Yeah, I think you might be right, James. Hey, man, that's supposed to be fastened down to your race car, man. But that's going to be the hood flying. Oh, and his right front is not completely on the axle there. Oh, no. What has actually happened to Curtis Preston?
Yeah, it was weird because, like, I saw him, he was, like, stuck in the wall, and everyone just drove right by. I'm like, huh, looked like a car in the wall. Backed it up. Oh, my God, that was a car in the wall. That is one of the weirder incidents you're going to see.
Oh, no. Just caught the apron, and that's going to make that car go loosey-goosey. And after a few stabs at trying to correct it, that is Curtis Preston into the wall. That was a hard hit, too. So that's going to have to be his fast repair used, and he's going to... Am I tweaking right now, or did he just exit the pits completely wrong?
So, I don't think he did. I don't think that line is actually part of it. I think as long as he just doesn't pass the line right there in between the apron and the racing surface, he's okay. But I kind of thought the same thing as you at first. I'm like, and then I look closely, I'm like, okay, he might be okay. But yeah, you do wonder if that's going to be a bit of a theme of the night, just guys getting loose like that. This next gen car is ridiculously temperamental. You know, the independent rear suspension always wreaks havoc, and because of that, you can't really predict or understand what this thing is gonna do. And it's when it steps out, it's hard to save it to where you actually save it. You see a lot of overcorrects happen, what I like to call as the next gen death wobble. You know, especially since it seems like you got it, you're all right, and then you're actually going straight a little bit, and the car's like, Nah, you know what? I'm gonna spin anyway and just randomly snap back up to the right across the track. So, yeah, you hope that that's the only one you're gonna see, but I just can't imagine it will. Just not because of the drivers, because this car is it's a thing. That's the best way I can put it.
I agree. It is. It's an enigma almost. As we take a look at the season info here, we are in week number 12 of 20, meaning we are, what, 3/5 of the way through the season. That is quick math, ladies and gentlemen. I graduated high school, I promise. But yes, today we are at Kansas. As you can see, the beautiful Kansas, where I actually, about 5, maybe 6 years ago, got my first NIS win here at Kansas. That's probably the main reason why it has stayed my favorite racetrack. It's just the first one I found success at, so I stuck to it. But we are going 135 laps here. Going to be 4 total sets of rubber, as we see Brad Harris and the Napa 9 there getting into the wall. Next week, going to be at Charlotte Roval. And James, you know, I'm not sure if you're going to be here or not, but if you were, what would you come to expect from these drivers after leaving somewhere like Kansas and going to a road course like the Roval?
Well, I'm gonna imagine that there's quite a few people in the series that are like, oh no, I can't believe we're gonna be racing there, and a select few going, oh yeah, I can't wait. Because personally, I'm in the camp of the latter. I'm really only tend to be good at places that require a lot of brake and throttle control. Basically, short tracks and road courses. That's where you're gonna find me up front. I am hopeless at tracks like Kansas and basically anything over a mile that's an oval. So I imagine there's going to be some, you know, road ringers that are looking forward to the Roval, but I imagine quite a few are like, I wish I had a bigger points gap to deal with this.
Yeah, and you probably hit the nail on the head. We saw it earlier. If we take a look here at the schedule again. We saw it earlier when we went to, or actually, no, I'm thinking of the preseason race. Oh, no, we did. We went Watkins Glen week number 4, yes. Blake Cannon did end up winning that race by a pretty large margin. So I'm going to say our championship leader, Blake Cannon, is probably going to be frothing at the mouth for Charlotte Roval next week to continue his spread on that championship defense. But speaking of, Blake Cannon in the number 44 representing LJG Racing. He's sitting P5. He started this race in P14. So for him to climb 9 spots that fast, that is pretty impeccable. Even though he is the championship leader, he does seem to be in a form that no one can mimic right now. It is still just cool seeing these feats. It seems like every single week there's something that sets Blake Cannon back a little bit, but it turns out to just only be a minute obstacle because he always gets to the front anyway. So really, this sounds bad to say, but it's kind of fun watching the odds get stacked against Blake Cannon simply because he is so good, he's so talented, and he gets to the front anyway.
Yeah, that was definitely something I kind of noticed and was keeping my eye on when I saw him only put it up P14. And yeah, it did not take him long. Like already you see him working on Brendan McLaughlin for P4 here. Meanwhile, a couple things have been going on while we've been talking. A couple cars brought it down pit road and ended up getting black flags for their troubles. Bruce Velasquez and I believe Thomas McLaughlin as well. Oh yeah, and looks like they are still on pit road. Not sure what happened to those two.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but the Viper, Bruce Velasquez Munoz, he is typically not a penalty gatherer, part of Nap Daddy Racing. They pride themselves on the clean racing, their ability to get through long stints, no incident points, no penalties, anything like that. But there you see Thomas McLaughlin's teammate, John Smith, in that number 47. He was rocking the Chick-fil-A 47 for a good bit of the season, but then he switched to the Nap Daddy Racing emblem. Once he got signed up there, once they got picked up, they formed that team. And John Smith, he doesn't sit too high in the championship standings, and that's honestly a shame because he is one of those drivers that is always there. He is always in contention. I mean, we saw the great three-way battle between himself, Nate Lesko, and Blake Cannon. I believe that was at Homestead, Miami, just a few weeks prior. And, you know, just John Smith's improvement as we go through the season, I mean, it has been an absolute blast to watch him just get better and better.
Absolutely, though he is running one lap down right now, so not sure if something has happened to him that we didn't see, or is just struggling trying to stretch his tires out. But yeah, him and Chris Toppings are currently one lap down right now, and it looks like James Johnson is not far from joining them in that fate.
Yeah, James Johnson, it just throws me for a loop considering, you know, like you said earlier, he topped the charts at practice. He seemed to be, you know, well on his way to contending for a win here tonight, and 107 laps to go. I mean, there's a lot of racing left at the end of the day, but, I mean, James Johnson, you got to start going to work here. You got to start getting fast.
Yeah, you cannot afford to be out to lunch for too long, especially with the skill level and the pace that everyone has in this league. So we're back on the battle for the lead here. Let's go hold in Irizarry at bay. Looks like they're... Oh, Lesko's going to be bringing it in now. Brendan McLaughlin, too. Interesting.
Yeah, so for once we see Nate Lesko leading a strategy instead of being behind an alternative one. And Brandon McLaughlin, I mean, he said he was pitting in GT Irizarry in as well. So a lot of these drivers, they know Nate Lesko has something figured out when it comes to strategy. So they are going to follow him into the depths. Now, I do want to give you guys just a little bit of a reminder here. We do take stage breaks here in the Tobacco Road Next Gen Cup Series. It's going to be at the end of lap 45. That is going to mark our stage break. Fuel window in these cars are going to be about 49 to 54 laps as we see Gary Braylon, Blake Cannon, Scott Matthews coming in.
Oh!
And
We got another car around. The caution is out.
Oh, no.
You see the 27 sitting on the infield grass. Hello Kitty car saying hello caution. Thank you, I'll be here all week.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, that is... Oh, no, it's going to be Millette who spun. I originally thought it was James McRae that got into Millette, but no, it was Millette that spun and got into James McRae. Oh.
I think it might have been a little bit of both, because I wasn't sure if the 27 started to kind of break loose the other way right as the 8 was getting close to him. Yeah, you see he kind of starts to move a little bit. So obviously the 8 did not help things and was the majority of the contact, but even if the 8 wasn't there, it still, I think, wouldn't have been the greatest pit road entry for McRae. I think he would have been okay-ish. I think he might have at least slid past the pit entry cone, but yeah, but holy crackers, that was just absolutely flipped the race up on its head rather. Because let's see, how many cars got trapped a lap down from that?
We are going to see everyone from, I believe everyone from Travis Everett back, maybe P11 onward, potentially. We'll have to see how it ends up shaking out, but lap number 33 of 135 is where we sit currently. Drivers got 31 laps completed before the yellow flag came out, which is a pretty decent green flag run here. I thought things might go, you know, green to checkered, just considering everyone seemed so safe out there. Everyone seemed so comfortable with the car. So, you know, having the pit road mishap like that is, one, I mean, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny in a sense that entering the pit lane isn't something that should be difficult. But at some of these tracks where you go from high banking to no banking, your car is going to be very upset if you are under brake or maybe, you know, have a sudden blip of the throttle once you change that elevation. And drivers, you know, they know that, but they don't really consider that in the heat of the moment. So, you know, yeah, it is what it is. We are yellow, and it is just going to mean that Blake Cannon gets right up there towards the front.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You always say to yourself when you see stuff like that is you didn't have to push it that hard, you know? So just back it down a little bit, maybe cost yourself a little bit on entry, but, you know, avoid a penalty or a mistake like that. But the thing about us race car drivers is we have to push as hard as we can. And you always go, okay, it's going to be someone else who makes that mistake. It's definitely not going to be me. That's the attitude you have to have. And unfortunately, that attitude doesn't work out nearly as much as you hope it would.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree there. It's happened to me a fair share, so, you know, I can't really hate, but it does warrant a little bit of a chuckle as the lights on the iRacing official pace car are going to go out. That means we will go green here for a second time once that iRacing official pace car pulls out of the racing surface, and Gary Braylon crosses the Geico restart zone in that 77 Chili's car, I believe. I've never actually ate Chili's, so I'm just assuming it's a chili pepper with an apostrophe S. So in my mind, that's Chili's. We are green here again at Kansas Speedway. Gary Braylon, a good start, actually, to be fair. Blake Cannon normally always on top of his game during those starts, especially if he's not the one actually restarting the pack. It seems he always has a little bit of an idea of when the leader might go. But here comes Irizarry down on the bottom. The Outsiders racing car versus the LJG racing machine of Blake Cannon. It's going to be P1 and P4 in the championship standings, but they are chasing what is the defending champion into the sunset, Gary Braylon. How iconic of a scene is that? You've got GT Irizarry, who's easily been your most improved driver over the season. You've got Blake Cannon, your favorite to win the championship this season, and they're chasing down the legend, the defending champion, on the sunsets here of Kansas. Man, it does not get any more cinematic than this.
Absolutely, and that's going to just up the racing too, because this track is going to have so much grip when we fully transition into the nighttime. There's just going to be all kinds of grip on offer, so it's going to be how hard can you push and how hard can you hold on to it.
And how close can you get up to that wall? Because like you said, with the more grip, when that sun starts to set, these drivers are going to find their way up to that cushion riding or the lip riding, like you said earlier. So it's going to be very, very cool to see how many of those drivers can actually pull it off and who can actually gain some really nice time doing it. You see Blake Cannon might be going for it now, but he's going to get into the wall. That's going to kill his run. It's going to be 3 wide for just a second, but the run on Nate Lesko, tracking down Travis Everett, who now sits in P3 in that Black Rifle Coffee Outsiders Racing number 13. Him and GT Irizarry and Nate Lesko, as a matter of fact, running P2, P3, P4. That was your big battle here towards the start of the season. Of course, James McRae getting the win at Talladega. Or Daytona, I apologize. So that set him in a very good track once the season kicked off. But then, as we know, that lead only lasted about 9 weeks because Blake Cannon, like a phoenix from the ashes, he rose. But unfortunately, he's falling. He's not really rising right now. He was up into P2. He now sits P5.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising. You figure that he'd be challenging, if not holding the lead, especially with how quickly he came up through the field in the first run. I don't know if he's just kind of hold and serve, trying to conserve, but that wouldn't make any sense since we're coming to 5 laps to go before the end of the stage. So we wouldn't want to give up too much and throw away stage points here. Oh, we got the 7 cut the grass.
Yeah, oh no, Scott Matthews was having a very good run that last lap. He made up 2 or 3 spots, and I don't know if he just zoned out or if he got scared or what, but oh no, Blake Cannon's around! Oh no, Blake Cannon.
We got a parking lot ahead of him going into turn 3. Oh my God.
James Johnson's going to make it through. John Smith looks like he might have been hurt. James McCray as well. We're going to try to get you footage of that as fast as possible.
James McCray is involved. Unfortunately, it's going from Hello Kitty to Yellow Kitty on that.
As there you see, okay, he gets past the 44 of Blake Cannon, but then, yeah, like you said, look at these cars.
Death wobble! The death wobble!
It's the death wobble. Oh, no, that's Brendan McLaughlin, John Smith getting involved.
Well, beware of the death wobble.
Brendan McLaughlin, Chris Toppings gets through. Chris Perry gets through, I believe, so that's going to be good news on the side of those drivers. We'll just have to see who all kind of goes back to the pit lane here as they're going to bunch up. Lap number 42. It's going to be our second caution of the night.
And Race Control has just said that in fact, will be stage.
So that is going to be our stage break. All the drivers going to come in for their free pit stop. Drivers going to stay out if they want that lap back. But while we step away for the stage break, we'll go to commercial break. This is the Tobacco Road Next Gen Cup Series live on Racer Nexus, week number 12. We'll be back right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Tobacco Road Cup Series here live on Racer Nexus. Mac Nelson and James Watson joining you from the Racer Nexus broadcast booth. There you see defending champion Gary Braylon bringing it down pit lane. He is going to get back to his pit stall. He's going to get everything repaired that he might need. Drivers are back out. Lights on the pace car are going to go out, or they are out, so they will be going green. As soon as they get back to the start-finish, for some reason, we have a little bit... That was weird. Okay, well. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Just a small moment of technical difficulty, it did seem. But we are back in live and in living color. Shout out to Cult of Personality. Very good song. We are back green here. And Blake Cannon going to have a black flag. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a chaotic start here with the technical difficulty that we had, but we're back. Lickety split. James Johnson is going to be in P2, tracking down Patrick Millette, who is going to be your leader in this race. 91 laps to go here at Kansas. Here comes James Johnson, and we were wondering when he was going to make his presence known, but it seems like it's going to be right after the stage break, James.
Yeah, Johnson pulling the long game here. All of a sudden, just up here battling for the lead.
Yeah, I do agree. And like you said, when that sun's going to start coming down, drivers are going to start experimenting with that grip. We see Patrick Millette. He's riding the wall around the corners, down the back straight. He's going to do it again. James Johnson still electing to put his car on that bottom line, so... two completely different lines here and just about the same pace being shown.
Also, I just now put 2 and 2 together that James is likely running a Jimmy Johnson scheme because technically his name is also Jimmy Johnson. So yeah, that is a thing. Don't worry, I'm very smart, everyone.
Yeah, also James Johnson, longtime NBA player. Not going to be this James Johnson, who we are seeing tonight, but very familiar name for any Miami Heat fans out there. James Johnson was a dog on those Heatles teams with LeBron, D-Wade, and Bosh. But here at Kansas, Patrick Millette going to get a little loose coming out of turn number 2, GT Irizarry. He sees that as, one, a Code Brown moment for a second, but also he saw it as an opportunity as soon as the urge to have a Code Brown moment went away. GT Irizarry going to get past Patrick Millette. That's going to be him up into P2. So, funny enough, GT Irizarry has finished P2 in our last 3 races here, James. So if he manages to bring home P2 here tonight, that's going to be 4 weeks in a row that he has finished P2.
Truly a stat that GT wants. Certainly has no issues with it whatsoever, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you would probably be 100% right. I mean, obviously, every single driver wants to win. That is the goal at the end of the day. But P2's not bad. I mean, it's the next best thing, James. So, I mean, when you look at it realistically, you gotta be impressed with it, and you gotta love it. I mean, that's good, solid championship points that could make your season.
Yeah, finishing second is definitely not a bad thing whatsoever, but there is something to be said about finishing second so many times in a row where you do get to a point where like, okay, this is great and all, but what can I do to turn this into at least one win? You know, the more you come up short, the worse it starts to get. There's something to be said about a lot of sports teams with that same issue. So, but definitely if you're given the choice between second or any other position than first, yeah, you're gonna be all right with that many second places in a row. But you can see he does not want to continue that on. He is fighting hard with Johnson, trying to see if he can get back to the front of this race.
Yeah, and unfortunately that lead is going to be just a little bit bigger than our battle here between John Smith, and that's going to be Patrick Millette. No, and he is going to wreck again. Patrick Millette, John Smith was working a masterclass with him as well, getting past Nate Lesko, getting past Scott Matthews, but unfortunately that is going to be Patrick Millette's night over. I'm almost positive he used his fast repair or his spare car during the kerfluffle down pit lane.
Oh, he looks like he got a little bit of help from, I think, the 9 of Brad Harris, and then the Death Wobble kind of took over from there. Almost had it, and kind of had it, and then he didn't.
Yeah, and I'd like to be able to go back and look at exactly what caused it. As we see, Patrick Millette, and I'm just a little bit late every single time, so I do apologize. We're going to back it up here, and if we can play it here, yeah, oh, it looks like it's just going to come across the nose. Yeah, Brad Harris coming across the nose of Pat Millette there. That's going to be the 9 versus the 8, and here's the 47 of John Smith. Just barely able to avoid that. Wow.
Yeah, and Matthews and Lesko also got a lot closer to being involved in that than they'd like to.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So third caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Want to take this time to give a big shout out to Apex Sim Racing. Make sure to go to apexsimracing.com. They are your one-stop shop for all sim racing accessories, whether it be a monitor, a chassis, pedals, It doesn't matter, accessories, you need lights, you need audio. You can find anything you want sim racing related on ApexSimRacing.com. Use code RacerNexus for 5% off. Get yourself a little bit of that cheddar change back for your efforts. It also gives us here a little bit of a kickback, so we appreciate you guys for doing that for us. Also, big shout out to Track Cams for Gourmets. That's trackcams22.com. They provide all the car and track cameras you see here tonight and across all of the Racer Nexus broadcast. Fantastic angles, it's fantastic vibes, but we are here at Kansas Speedway. It's going to be week number 12 of the Tobacco Road Cup Series here. Blake Cannon is going to be your championship leader, but he has not had a shortage of hardships here tonight, James.
No, he hasn't. He didn't qualify well, got up to the front, and then looped it. Got himself an EOL on that, and now he's recovered decently so far. Meanwhile, it looks like Race Control did deem that on the shoulders of the 9 car for that last yellow. He's got the EOL on that.
So yeah, Brad Harris going to go to the back. Quack Pack Racing, who have unfortunately not had the best of seasons. One of their drivers, Gary Brayland, obviously carrying the belt into the season. So Quack Pack having a fantastic season last year, taking home the championship. But this year it's been a little bit of a drought because of a big force in the form of LJG Racing, which is owned and ran by Joe Bonner, which also is behind LNG's Power Washing LLC, based out of Millersburg, Pennsylvania. So if you want anything power washed, whether it be car, actually I don't think you power wash cars, power wash homes, sheds, the farm equipment, anything you need, anything that can be power washed, I'm sure Joe will get it done for you. There is their business card. You can follow them on all the socials, check out their email, and give them a call if you need. Get your phone out, take a picture, take a screenshot if you are on a mobile device, because that is going away now. You have missed your opportunity to get a quote from Joe Bonner, Millersburg, Pennsylvania's finest power washer, also behind LJG Racing, which James Johnson is not a part of anymore. He is, however, going to start us in the third restart of the night. We are green here at Kansas, and GT Irizarry is not afraid. He is Eminem. He's Marshall Mathers. He is not afraid to take a stand here on the bottom side of the 48 of Johnson. They're going to make contact. It's a little bit of loosey-goosey for the 14 of GT Irizarry, but he's going to save it. And now he gets into Let's Go sideways, and he's going to save it. The 13 of Travis Everett is also going to save it.
Oh my God, caution is out. Holy crackers.
The entire grid just pump faked us, pump faked Race Control too, because we should be green, but I mean, look, that was insane. Oh wait, no, Patrick Millet's had another crash.
Yeah, my knees are weak after that one. Mom spaghetti. Okay, I'm done with the M&M puns now.
Oh, Pat Millett and no, the 36 of McLaughlin gonna get into him. Oh no, so a nightmare of a night for the number 8 of Patrick Millett. That is not good, but let's go talk about what exactly transpired. I mean, oh my goodness. Here we see Travis Everett. We'll go forward just a tiny bit here. We see the carnage happening in front. We got a good view of that. Travis Everett just trying his best to dip down on the inside. He's going to catch the 77 of Gary Brayland. Gary's going to say, don't worry about it, Travis. Get back out there. He's going to turn him straight, and they're going to keep going. What a fantastic sequence of events.
How in the world that wasn't worse, I will never know. My goodness. We junked half the field, but we didn't. That is amazing.
Yeah, that was quite literally incredible. I don't know how that happened, but I am not complaining. That was really cool to watch. So drivers.
And now we
Oh, I apologize. Go ahead, James.
I was just gonna say, now we get an opportunity to kind of rest after that, and we'll see if GT tries to make that move again. He damn near almost snookered James Johnson there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. GT Irizarry, he has been feeling it here tonight at Kansas, and you know, like I said, this is a place that he likes here at Kansas. So we knew he was going to be competitive. We know he always is competitive anyway, but now that he's got a little bit extra confidence, it seems to really be doing a number on the guys around him. It seems like everyone just a little timid to kind of go to war with GT. He's been very responsive on his switchbacks. He's been very aggressive to get the spots back that he has lost. So, yeah, it honestly, you know, gotta be unbiased here. I gotta be non-partial, but if you were asking me as a fan, I'd be saying it might be GT Irizarry's night.
Absolutely. You can't help but think, if he gets out in the clean air, that they're not going to have much, if anything, for him.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and especially when Blake Cannon cannot seem, he's kind of stuck in this 5 through 8 vortex right now. It seems like no matter what he does, he can't really get out of it. He's going to be very, very lucky that he does not have a totaled car right now. There have been multiple incidents that he has barely scraped by. So, very, very interesting, and you know, I can't wait to see how the second half of this race goes.
Absolutely.
As the drivers getting set, iRacing official pace car going to pull off into the safety of the pit lane here very, very shortly, and that's going to mean that James Johnson will have the button here in the Tobacco Road Cup Series. Going to be our 5th start of the night here at Kansas. Drivers getting bunched up. There's a little bit of a gap on that left line, or stage left, I should say, as that's going to be behind John Smith choosing, that's going to be John Oliverio choosing to not really get up close to John Smith. I'm not entirely sure why that would be, but we are green flag racing. Curtis Preston is going to be in P2 in that Jimmy John's 29 iconic scheme. GT Irizarry, though, it looks like he might already be prepping a move. Set his car down early, but Curtis Preston is going to follow. So GT not able to get it on the first time around. Seems like he has built a habit of gain. And look at this. Now he's got to run. He's going to try to leapfrog to get in front of Preston. Preston's going to squeeze him down towards the apron. I don't think he was really aware of what was happening at the moment. But Blake Cannon now going to be side by side with Preston as we come across the start-finish line. We're going to be starting lap number 63. And Blake Cannon has just flipped on a switch. I said he was stuck in that 5 to 8 vortex. He couldn't get out of it. He kept getting collected. But now he's just turned into Prime Kobe or something. And he cannot do any wrong with the car.
Yeah, he is. You could say he was just shot out of a cannon.
the cannonball of the Tobacco Road. Currently trying to work on James Johnson, and yeah, I was going to say the story isn't exactly being told. James Johnson was masked behind the timing tower there, but it's not going to be that big of a gap. It's only going to be 0.3 of a second up to James Johnson. Curtis Preston and GT Irizarry are going to be right behind Cannon, and here comes Irizarry. Curtis Preston, I must say, he's doing a good job of blocking, but considering we still have about 70 laps left, I'm sure GT Irizarry is not going to be happy by these late sets into the corner.
Yeah, but, you know, you got to shout out Curtis Preston and the comeback that he's had. We saw what happened to him earlier in the race. That wasn't a death wobble. He just straight up died. And now he's back up running P3. Meanwhile, GT Irizarry, he had his own issues. He's lost a lot of positions. He was on the apron on the back straightaway.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. We're going to go back and actually take a look. So this is going to be coming around turns number...
And, oh, big save.
Yeah, it's just going to be... I mean, just a minute little catch there, and that's all it takes. but he is going to rejoin very, very safely. So there's going to be GT Irizarry. He's still perfectly in this fight. However, he's got into a very, very unlucky spot. He's got Nate Lesko behind him, James McRae in front of him. Two drivers that are very, very talented. Not only that, but they are very, very quick and very hard to pass. James McRae and Nate Lesko, both I would say classified as defensive drivers. They rarely let those spots go for free. They always put up one heck of a fight before they lose a position. So now that you have two of those cars, GT Irizarry now probably feels like he's in a little bit of that vortex that Blake Cannon might have been in earlier.
Yeah, you know, you also see Nate Lesko there. He has also not been able to get out of it either. Like, we saw him leading the race before we finally got that first caution, and he was leading it pretty handily, so we're just not able to see any of that same speed we saw that 20 car early on in the race. He's just been in this pretty much exact position since that first restart.
Yeah, and someone who has not been in the same spot is going to be James Johnson. He is up 18 spots. Started this race dead last. Technically, our race control, David Busch III, got a better grid spot than him. So James Johnson coming from the legitimate end of the longest line. And 67 laps to go. Ha-ha. James Johnson looking to be in a very good position to win this race. Oh, come on, man. You're not a fan of the 6-7?
Anyways, the another thing that I find interesting is the fact that we have those two leading this race after starting 19th and 14th, and then John Liviero, he started 17th. So we have 3 cars in the top 5 that have basically started outside of the top 15, kind of technically, like, not really, but yeah, that's how about that for, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Yeah, I agree.
The highest runner that started in a top 5 position is Brandon McLaughlin in 6th, who qualified 3rd. Otherwise, everyone else, not that great.
Well, and I just want to touch on John Oliverio for a second. I'm glad you brought him up. He is a driver that, when he came into the season, he had no team. He had no, family, so to speak, when it comes to this league. I'm not trying to, air out dirty laundry or anything. I have no idea. I've never talked to the guy. But he came in no kind of sense of direction when it came to, who would have his back in this league. He joined JC Esports with James McRae, and James McRae has turned that team into something legitimately serious here in the Tobacco Road Cup Series. John Oliverio was, and I mean no disrespect, but beginning of the season, he was not sniffing even a top 10. I mean, this is a guy that was running 15th, 16th, all the way back to 25th in the early days. And so to see John Oliverio, this is not the first week we've seen this either. This is probably the 3rd or 4th week this season that we have seen him be a legitimate threat to these top titans, I like to call, like Blake Cannon, like Nate Lesko, like GT Irizarry. So, John Oliverio, he's putting his name in the hat as people that you don't really want to mess around with when it comes to on-track fighting.
Absolutely. It's always the coolest thing when you see a driver be able to, hone their craft, get better, and start inching themselves to the front slowly but surely, week in, week out. So it's cool to, well, not see it because this is the first week that I've been around, but to hear about his improvement, that's cool to see for everyone watching at home.
Yeah, Scott Matthews and James McRae, speaking of JC Esports, they are having a big battle now here, heading through turns number 1 and 2. As Scott Matthews, well, I thought it was going to be a battle, but Scott Matthews kind of seceding the position to James McRae, so not exactly going to be a battle there, but we take a turn towards the front, the 48 car of James Johnson. He is going to start lap number 76, and he's got to have second lead over Blake Cannon, and once again, I was going to lead you off into a bad spot, but I'm not going to do that. Blake Cannon and James Johnson, I mean, this has been written in the sand for about half a season now. I mean, Blake Cannon has made it very vocal that he does indeed like James Johnson. There is no ill will there. However, he is not a fan of how he treats the racing surface and the racing etiquette. Blake Cannon has been very vocal about James Johnson not really caring about where he puts his car, not really caring who he harms virtually, of course, who he harms virtually in order to get himself a good finish here in the Tobacco Road Next Gen Cup Series. So, ultimately, the guys at LJG, they came together, they said, James, we love you, man, you're a good guy, but the racing that you put on is not representative of what we want to carry as a brand for LJG. And James Johnson, I mean, we've all seen the Michael Jordan meme. I took that personally, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, he is holding off Blake Cannon. Might I even say it? He's faster right now than Blake Cannon.
So, basically, long story short, we got beef!
Yeah, I mean, there is beef. I mean, we're talking... Yeah, we're talking like Miami, Ohio State. I think they're rivals. I don't really keep up with college sports, but I think they're big rivals. That kind of sounded right coming off the tongue. So, yeah, they're kind of like Miami and Ohio State. Or Texas and USC. I know that's a Rose Bowl rivalry from back in the day. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Vince Young days. I know my cheddar a little bit. Leader, James Johnson, going to come into the pit lane. Blake Cannon not going to oblige. He is going to go a few more times around. And James Johnson pulling into the pits. He is going to have... Well, I figured since he started in the back, he'd be on the back pit stall. But I guess he will be in a very... Huh. Interesting. Okay. Blake Cannon still going to lead the race here. Going to be 80 laps completed.
Oh.
Once we cross the start-finish line, yeah, and that O is right. That's, a few millimeters away from certain carnage. As we do have a battle going on for P10. Brendan McLaughlin and Gary Braidland having a little bit of a fight. Scott Matthews as well wanting to insert himself, but he is not going to be able to do that. Gary Braidland in that 77, part of Quack Pack Racing, defending champion. He... beginning of this race, he was very, very good. He was doing very, very fantastic. And unfortunately, I'm just not entirely sure what has really happened, but the pace has started to fall off. And, once again, I hate to be the guy that strikes down the truth, but now we're kind of seeing normal Gary Braidland stuff here, running, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, something like that.
So, I think there might have been, because at one of the pit stops, there was an issue getting on pit road where there was contact between a couple of the cars behind Gary and Irizarry that kind of shoved GT into the back of Gary's car. And with how heated Gary was about that, I imagine that there might have been some damage caused from that issue. So what's going on with the 77 car might be connected to that incident under that yellow flag pit stop.
Okay, that is very, very good information too here. GT Irizarry currently running in P7. He's going to be 5 positions down. He started on the front row here. So that trip up that he did have earlier, it is going to still be costing him, as he is going to have to get around Travis Everett, who, unfortunately, you don't know, James, but for me and for everybody who's a regular viewer of the Tobacco Road Sim Racing Series, Travis Everett is no easy guy to pass. And, classic commentators curse, because Travis Everett is trying to run that wall, and he is hitting the wall just a little bit. So GT Irizarry is probably going to get around him, but we don't have to really worry about these two making contact. I mean, they are two of the cleanest drivers on the grid. They are both outsiders racing drivers as well, so I'm sure the communication between them is on point as they communicate a little bit of a switch here. Travis Everett saying, I'll go low this time, you stay high. as Nate Lesko right in front of them. He is trying to battle to get to Brad Harris. We'll see a couple cars coming down pit lane. Your championship leader, Blake Cannon, going to be one of them. And although it might be because of some alternative pit cycles, but John Oliverio is going to be leading the race for JC Esports. And man, what a cool moment that is. We just wrapped up talking about him and how much better he has gotten throughout the season. And assuming we don't see a yellow flag here, or assuming he doesn't give the infield a haircut, we're going to see John Oliverio lead his first full lap here in the Tobacco Road Cup Series here this season. Congratulations, John. You do deserve it.
You'll love to see it.
Very, very cool from them. Brad Harris, though, you know, very, very unlikely that he's thinking about the same sentimental moment I was. He's got one goal. He wants to push this issue. His tires are 37, or 33, I apologize, laps old. So Brad Harris is starting to get towards the end of his stint. So whatever he has saved during this run, he is going to have to use right up. GT Irizarry being pressured by both, I believe that's Nate Lesko and Travis Everett. Yes, it is. So used to seeing Nate Lesko in the either Hooters or the Nesquik 20. So to see him now in Captain Crunch, another...
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be big between him and Travis Everett. Travis Everett is going to be able to get out of the way, though. So that is good for him. But I am starting to put some things together. I think Nate Lesko's schemes might just have to do with childhood loves. Because when you think about it, Nesquik is what he entered the season with. Every kid loves Nesquik. I mean, I'm 27 years old and I still have Nesquik powder in the pantry. But he came with the Hooters scheme after that. What kid doesn't like Hooters? You know what I'm saying? And now we see Captain Crunch, which is, you know, in my opinion, top 2 cereal. It's not Frosted Flakes, but Captain Crunch is right behind it. Oh, no.
Oh, we nearly saw some Captain Crunch right there. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Caution is out. Oh, no.
2 incidents happening simultaneously. One in the pit, I think that one happened to be all right. But the one on track, definitely not, as we see Nate Lesko having a meatball flag. That's going to be a whole lot to dissect.
Wow.
As, oh no, just a little bit of the speed wobble, the death wobble, like you're ripping a ripstick down the hill when you were a kid. That's going to cause him to get into the wall. That's Travis Everett, and then he's going to hit Nate Lesko. And this is where Nate Lesko gets his meatball flag. I mean, he just crunched, like you said, cap and crunch. I mean, the puns are quite literally world-class from you tonight, but he is going to crunch into the wall. You are exactly right.
Oh, man, that is... Yeah, there was just... I don't know if GT called it out. I was not paying attention at the time, so I imagine he did, but there was some sort of communication issue here between these four. Like, it looks like Brad is bringing it down pit road. I'm not sure if GT is trying to avoid it or pit himself or what, but you see him having to drive to the outside of Brad. He's doing everything he can to avoid certain doom, and by the time Nate and Everett are right behind him, there's just nothing that they can do, and they just all kind of run out of room. So I don't think anyone actually did anything wrong. It's just one of those unfortunate deals where sometimes getting onto pit road, especially when you have 2 cars bringing it down at the same time, gets pretty chaotic. And unfortunately, it got too chaotic for Everett and Lesko on that one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with the explanation. It's one of those things that, yes, it could have been avoided, but it's not really on anybody. It's nobody's fault. I mean, it was just 5 guys essentially trying to make their way onto 2 different paths, and obviously 5 guys cannot go where 2 cars go. So yeah, it's unfortunate, and at that point it's just going to be a roll of the dice on who takes the blunt force trauma from it, and it is going to be Everett. and it is going to be Lesko. Although Everett, after sustaining his damage, he seems to not be too scathed by it, as well as Nate Lesko. It makes me wonder, did both of them maybe have their spare car? Because I thought Nate Lesko and Travis Everett got into something a little earlier here tonight that would have made them use their spare car. That's why I kind of reacted how I did, but apparently not, because those cars look to be in pristine shape.
Yeah, and thankfully so, if you're, especially if you're Lesko, because, yeah, that car would absolutely be slapped with too much damage or done if he did not have that aftercare in his back pocket.
Yeah, and that's the third team Black Rifle car. I mean, a good-looking car, and it looks pristine to me.
And that worked out great for Harris and Irizarry. You know, that caution came out right as they had gotten onto pit road. So now GT is being scored as the race leader, I believe.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think those cars ahead of them are going to be cars that are going to get their lap back.
Yeah, wave arounds.
Yeah, they are going to be getting their lap back. Brandon McLaughlin, one of them. The Viper, Bruce Velasquez Munoz, one of them as well, I believe. James Johnson, Blake Cannon, also of that group. So now, another storyline unfolding. Blake Cannon, who was a lap down due to his own mistake, is getting his lap back. So Blake Cannon is officially in the ballgame again.
Yeah, but that didn't work out that great for James Johnson, as that puts him right behind Blake Cannon. And just barely hanging on to the top 10 is we're delaying the yellow just one extra lap to make sure everyone gets caught up.
Yeah, good idea from race control David Bush III there. Big shout out to him. He's been here for it's been long enough where I lost count of the weeks, so it's probably been 6, possibly 7 weeks. So David Bush doing a fantastic job of calling here tonight, being the swift justice in these drivers' times of need and their controversy, because frankly some of these moves tonight have been a little audacious. Some have been just straight up unlucky, but they have all been entertaining.
Yeah, and it's a great idea to extend the caution and making sure everyone gets caught up in a safe manner, because with how many cars that needed the wave around, if we had half the field coming up on the rest of the field at Mock Jesus, it probably wouldn't have ended great. So this allows everyone to catch back up and slow up and make sure that we can get the safest possible restart here with, I believe, we're going to be about 41 laps to go.
Yeah, I do believe that is going to be correct. So drivers, they are getting into the final stage of this race. So now strategy, they're all gonna be null and void, with everybody basically being on the same set of equipment here now. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how these drivers attack the, sort of reset we have here, and what exactly they go to for strategy. Sun has it completely set here, which is a little surprising. I would have thought the Sun was going to set a little earlier. Going to be fun to see that grip come into play if the Sun does happen to drop within the next few minutes. But GT Irizarry coming to the start-finish line, and the Geico restarts. Oh no, Braylon.
Oh man.
Gary Braylon, defending champion's gonna have a little bit of a moment as we go green. Oh no.
Oh, and he goes right up into
Oliverio.
No.
And then hitting the 93 of Munoz as well. Oh no. Gary Braylon, John Oliverio now gonna be damaged, war-torn, battle-scarred, whatever you want to call it. Oh no, that car does not look happy.
Yeah, not quite sure what exactly happened to Gary on that, but Gary came over the radio and said, "Sorry guys," so I'm guessing might have just got on it a little too hard. And oh, did he miss a shift?
I believe he might have missed a shift. Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, that hit in real time felt a whole lot harder than it did in slow-mo. Oh no.
It sure did.
Yeah, that is, you don't like to see that. Gary Braylon, obviously, fantastic driver. He's a championship winner here at the Tobacco Road. And man, after the night he's been having, it's so sad to see that. And especially John Oliverio, who has had the night of his career, led his first lap here. And he, unfortunately, is going to be collected. That's going to be John Oliverio. Maybe out of this race. He is in. No, he is. Okay, he's coming back out on the track, so that is good. Chris Perry, he is going to be a couple laps down. He has made his way back out onto the track after getting repaired for 1 minute and 29 seconds. So the Outsiders racing number 34 in those Gravedigger colors. That kind of what it reminds me of. Gravedigger and /or Hulk, if you're a Marvel fan. But Chris Perry having a little bit of a quiet night here. Unfortunate for him. But Mab Motorsport number 34, Outsiders Racing Machine, is going to get back up into the pack. He is going to have his chance to keep on running. GT Irizarry is still going to lead. And, you know, James, if you're a leader in this situation, you've got all these, you know, top tier, you know, hoopers behind you. What's the frame of mind like when you just cycle caution after caution here and you don't really get to lock in or really get into the zone?
It kind of depends on a little bit of extra context. Like, sometimes I go, it's like, I just want to get some runs in and try to see if I can pull a gap. Other times you're like, okay, this is good. This is less laps I have to put on my tires, which means I can push a little harder and hopefully try to keep them back more. So I suppose it just kind of boils down to how confident GT feels in his machinery, which from what we've seen so far, seems like he has a lot of confidence in that 14 car. So I imagine he's wanting it to go green so he can try to get that gap.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and it's got to be nerve-wracking. I do, you know, to add to your point, I think it's got to be nerve-wracking, or at least it would be for me, knowing I have so much pace here, and I can't just let it out. But lap number 98 going to be in the books. We'll start lap number 99 as soon as GT Irizarry crosses the start-finish line. We are green here again, ladies and gentlemen. GT out to a fantastic start. Travis Everett not going to have the advantage, but we are 3 wide right behind them. It's Blake Cannon, Brad Harris, and Scott Matthews, as Blake Cannon is going to get around all of them. Travis Everett ducking down to the inside, trying to prevent GT from setting the car early, which has given him so much pace. Travis Everett, that is a fantastic move. Blake Cannon around the outside. Yeah, he's going to go around the outside of Irizarry. So just like that, Irizarry has gone from the gold step to the bronze step of the podium. First, it was the incredible tactic by Travis Everett, and then Blake Cannon just had phenomenal momentum around the outside, and those positions are going to get locked in.
Oh, we're working in the back.
Oh, no.
We got
Chris Toppings, Chris Perry.
Around.
Oh, no, I'll have to go see. Oh, man. Oh. That's going to be a hard hit, just an instant hit, and they're going to keep banging.
Yeah, I think because looked like Perry was trying to check up for Oliverio and just slid right up into Toppings. Yeah. So Perry apologized for it, but truth be told, I don't know what more you could have done if you're the 34 car in that scenario. I feel like this was just gonna be one of them deals. Like, yeah, like there's nowhere for him to go, nowhere for him to react. Like he can't pull the car to the inside Oliverio off the corner, because you know as well as I do, Mac, that when you're on corner exit, the car is pretty much set in its trajectory. So yeah, I think it's just one of those racing deals, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree, and now that's going to be a whole gaggle of cars. I mean, make that the oh no, not going to be the entire grid, but it's going to be 80% of them, as all these drivers are going to come down to pit road. Brandon McLaughlin in the 81 Mustang, he's had a pretty unfortunate night here, to say the least. He is going to stay out and be gifted this race lead. He is on the lead lap as well, so you know, no lap back strategy here. He just wants to lead the race. Driver's going to pile into pit road. Blake Cannon going to be out first. Oh no, Blake Cannon!
Oh, no!
Blake Cannon's going to get turned around. It's going to be the 77 of Gary Brayland, and
oh yeah, Gary's trying to get to his box, and around goes the 77.
And
wow.
And I hate to be that guy here, but I thought iRacing, I thought in the pit was non-collidable. Have I missed something?
It's only non-collidable if you're actually in the pit boxes themselves, if you're in the concrete. If you're on the outside of the concrete, you're on your own, buddy.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I thought it was everywhere on the pit lane. I'll be completely honest with you. So Blake Cannon is... Now, I wonder, is he going to be gifted that spot back? I don't think he's going to, because he hadn't crossed the pit road, or the pit line, so I don't think his position was established.
Yeah, unfortunately for Blake, you are correct. He's going to be sitting right where he came out, and as you can imagine, he is not happy about it. Him and Gary are having a chat about it over radio.
Blake Cannon, just another setback. And when I said it earlier in the broadcast that it was kind of fun to see the odds stacked against Blake Cannon, I did not mean it like this. The racing gods have taken me a little too literal here. It's showbiz, iRacing gods. I gotta make it entertaining, but seriously though, Blake Cannon has quite literally had everything, maybe even the kitchen sink, thrown at him this race.
Yeah, and time is running out. You can only deal with so many setbacks before you're just stuck back there.
I agree. As the iRacing official pace car going to pull off, it's going to be on Brandon McLaughlin, our new leader here in the number 81. Brandon McLaughlin out to a good start. Travis Everett, GT Irizarry going to follow closely behind. Woohoo! The 13 and 14 Outsiders racing car almost getting into each other, but now we see Nate Lesko with no Blake
we're nearly
Cannon
4 wide in the back. Oh, Blake in the wall a little bit.
Yeah, Blake Cannon.
Blake's definitely in sight now.
Yeah, Blake is in the wall, fighting the 47 of John Smith as well. James McRae going to be the meat in a 3 wide. Scott Matthews going to have to pull out. Brandon McLaughlin is going to have the lead once again. I think maybe Travis Everett was trying to make a move. Maybe got his car stuck out. Now he's going to run the top is Everett, but I think he might just be losing time because he's scraping the wall.
A lot of cars in the wall. I think Matthews got the wall a little bit too. Oh, as we see things so close between Lesko and Brad right there.
Yeah, let's go in the 20. Brad Harris, part of Quack Pack Racing in the Napa. No, or actually, that's not even Napa. I've been fooled this entire night. I thought that was Napa. That's a Blue Ribbon ice cream, I think.
Kelly Blue Book.
Kelly Blue. All right. Well,
oh, James Johnson hard into the wall. He almost lost it. Great save from James.
That was a great thing to happen to take the subject off that I cannot see, apparently, as Blake Cannon is going to be mad. He just ran fastest lap of the night with a 29.81. He is cooking.
Oh no! Cars going to
James Johnson! Pat Millette, that's going to be LJG that James Johnson collects. I'm sure that's not going to go over well in the radio.
It sure isn't.
Oh no, as I can only imagine. As we go back and take a look, James Johnson. Oh no, we're gonna have to get a little further back than that. As we see James Johnson here battling with Scott Matthews initially, it looks like. Oh, and he's gonna come down across the nose of Scott Matthews. And that's going to cause him to get around. John Smith barely squeezing by for what feels like the 5th time tonight. And then Patrick Millette nowhere to go. That's going to upset Millette big time, as I'm sure James Johnson is upset as well. But to be honest, the position was there. James Johnson really had no right coming across the nose of Scott Matthews like that.
Yeah, I mean, see, Matthews has his nose in there pretty early. I think it's hard to say from the angle that we were looking at. Like, that's one of the ones where I'd love to see like a chopper cam just to get a better idea on what's going on. It's so hard to say because there isn't a whole lot of Matthews' nose alongside of the 48 car to the point to where I'm not entirely sure if Johnson would have gotten a spotter call, although the way they were talking over the radio, it makes me sound like Johnson knew he was there the whole time. So that's one of those things where I just look at it, put my hands up and go, thank God I'm not race control, because I don't have a single idea what I'd say.
Yeah, I think I have to agree, because to be fair, James Johnson was setting his car for that second line through the corner. For some reason, Scott Matthews had this idea of being on the bottom of the track and wanting to maybe ride the wall or something. And, as congested as the track was right out there, that is going to be a pipe dream. So, yeah, a guy high wanting to go low, a guy low wanting to go high. Those two things are never going to they're never going to coexist on a racetrack.
Immovable force versus unstoppable object, as James Johnson was in fact deemed at fault for that one.
So, a little interesting. I would have maybe pegged that as a racing incident. Deal. Yeah, I mean, it's two drivers wanting to cross paths at the end of the day. But, it is what it is. The race control call is final. I'm sure the job that is being tasked in front of David Busch III is not easy. I know it's not easy. I do not envy his position whatsoever. So, at the end of the day, race control has the final say, and we do nothing but respect that. So, on we move. Lap number 110, going to be our 8th caution of the night. And after a good initial start here, James, it seems the drivers are maybe getting a little frisky.
Yeah, it's time is of the essence here. We're only gonna have 25 laps to go, and also I just noticed, so the weather in the session is set to static. So we've basically been at 7 p.m. in sim time the entire race. So that explains why it hasn't got any darker, is because it's set to not get any darker.
I felt like I was in a time loop. Oh, man. So, yeah, track going to be stuck at 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a little sad. We didn't get to see that track develop exactly how we would have wanted, which is one of the more fun ways of running Kansas nighttime up there in the wall. But Brandon McLaughlin going to be tasked with getting us started again here at Kansas in the number 81. He's got the 20 Camry of Nate Lesko right behind, and We say it every single week, but James McRae is here, and he's done it quietly. There has been no flare, there has been no flash, like Blake Cannon, who's making it 3 wide to try to get every single position he can, but he's got outsider square right in front of him. GT Irizarry and Travis Everett. This is going to be a very, very pivotal moment in the race. If Blake Cannon cannot get around these outsiders racing drivers quick, then, you know, he can kiss his win and even really a good finish. Goodbye.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we got a change for the lead. Nate Lesko, your new
no.
leader. Oh,
Gary
as we see
Braylen
Gary
sideways.
on the apron. Hang on to it, Gary. Oh.
He is going to hang on to it. Defending champion Gary Braylen.
Wow.
That is class. That is racecraft. Well done, Mr. Braylen.
You had to hesitate so long to make sure that he did in fact have it, because how many times did we see, I got it, I don't got it.
And now Blake Cannon, who suffered from that, he dropped a few spots as a chain reaction to what we just saw with Braylen. So Blake Cannon able to get around the 42 of John Oliverio. Brad Harris is next. That's going to be a Quack Pack driver that he has to get around before he faces the 2 outsiders racing drivers. So Blake Cannon has got a ton of space to make up, and he's got no time to do it.
Yeah, we're about 21 laps to go, I believe, when we come across the line the next time. So yeah, he does not have a whole lot of time to work. And that, what he has in front of him, is not going to help. Those 2 cars side by side, that's going to be killer on the dirty air that he's got to manage.
Yeah, I agree. As we see Travis Everett in the 13 Black Rifle Coffee Machine, he is still trying to make this outside work, and unfortunately, I think it's maybe resulted in him dropping down the grid. I think with the static time, like you said, I think he maybe is expecting the same thing. I think he might be expecting the grip to come in up there, and it's just not. So now, following Blake Cannon instead of defending against him, and we'll have to see what he can do. Now Blake Cannon trying to go high, but he isn't going as far high as Travis Everett was. Travis Everett with a little bit of oversteer coming out of that corner. But more to the point, up the field, John Smith on the bronze step of the podium for Nap Daddy Racing in that number 47. Brandon McLaughlin in the 81 is going to cut down onto the apron, passing the start-finish line. I thought maybe he was going to secede the position for a second, but he did not do that. However, John Smith is not really giving him a choice as he's down on the inside. It's going to be Nap Daddy versus Brandon McLaughlin. 2 green cars, although they carry much different vibes. As, oh no, Brandon McLaughlin having a little bit of internet trouble. That is not good with 19 laps to go.
Yeah, it just looks like the 81 is just starting to fall off a decent bit. Like, they've lost about 7/10 up to Nate Lesko, even more so that they're with them battling hard now.
Yep.
So that's working out. Yeah, that's working out great for McRae, as that's letting him catch up to these 2 and maybe try to get 2 for 1 here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good points day for James McRae, especially if he can get past these 2 drivers, like you said. Because with Blake Cannon behind him, that means James McRae is only making up the difference towards that championship. As we see him down on the inside, Brandon McLaughlin going to be trying that wall ride line. It's not going to really work out for him. That's very, very unfortunate for the likes of Brandon McLaughlin. But now James McRae, he has a mission. He wants to get past John Smith. And John Smith in the 47. I said it earlier, he's not really up in the championship standings. I think he sits at P8, maybe P9, P10, somewhere like that. But he is very, very quick nonetheless. And he always proves that Chris Perry's off track. He came back on pretty quick, so nothing to see there.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever that was, Gary was not happy about that. Something crazy went on between those 2.
Oh, no. Whoa! GT Irizarry now coming across the nose of Brandon McLaughlin a little bit. But that is going to be GT past Brandon McLaughlin, so it is going just about how you said it a second ago. He is falling off. He's just dropping down the grid here, and it is probably going to be a goodbye to the podium for Brandon McLaughlin, but what an attempt it was from him tonight. He raced almost perfect for what was given in front of him.
Yeah, now they're just getting by him pretty effortlessly. Those tires are just absolutely gone on McLaughlin's car.
Yeah, and he is going to have significantly older tires than the rest of the grid because of that caution that came out lap number whatever.
Oh, he's pitting now.
Yeah, Brandon McLaughlin, I mean, he has no choice. Last time he came in was lap number 82, so I don't think he would have had the significant amount of fuel to make it to the end. So, you know, it was probably always a pipe dream for him. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to stay out. I, unfortunately, didn't really think that far ahead, so I was rooting for Brandon all night, man. But that is going to be his attempt at a win pretty much over. But more to the point, going to be Nate Lesko leading out in front in that number 20 Cap'n Crunch Camry. That's got a nice ring to it. I kind of like that. John Smith going to be right behind him in P2. What a night it's been for him. And James McRae, P2 in the championship. He's going to be sitting P3, but he's got two extremely hungry drivers in the form of GT Irizarry and Blake Cannon right behind him.
Yeah, that mirror of McRae is full of a whole lot of nope. Nothing you want to see right now.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Blake. He's going to have the run off the top side. Oh, he got the wall again. Man, the side of that 44 car is almost completely wiped off.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be. It's been so many times in the wall for Cannon. Oh, and Cannon's around. No, save it. He's going to save it. Wow, the slip angle on that car. That car was starting to go. Coming around turn 3 and 4. And now going to be the end of lap 124. Or 125, I apologize for these fine gentlemen. Starting lap number 126, that means there are 10 laps to go. It's going to be a shootout. Hopefully we can stay green because this three-way battle for P3 is the closest battle on track and has the biggest championship implications. Look at them, they're boxed up.
Man, and whatever happened going into turn 3, that has worked out so poorly for Cannon and McRae. Not only did Irizarry get by, they also are losing the spot to Brad Harris potentially. And here comes Everett.
Yeah, Travis Everett, the Black Rifle Coffee, number 13, part of Outsiders Racing. He has inserted himself into the picture as well as Brad Harris. So
hang on to her, Blake.
GT is out ahead of everyone, and with these four cars battling, it's almost going to be safe to say GT Irizarry's lead might just be, there. He might just have P3 locked up. These guys are going to go to war for P4 and P5 through those
we're under caution again.
Oh,
Preston
no.
and Millette.
Oh, no, yeah, Preston going backwards. Millette pushing him just down the track.
That's
not the
right
sight.
way.
Yeah, that's not the sight we want to see. Here we go. Now coming around turns number.
Record scratch. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Oh no! Oliverio's gonna get into the 29, and that's gonna cause him to get into Millette. Yeah. And then does Millette just? You're just gonna push him. And Millette, look at that left front. It is non-operational. Oh, no.
Yeah, and both of these cars have used their fast repair, so that might just be night over for the both of them. Obviously, we know for a fact Preston used his, and Millette has found himself on the wrong end of a few incidents tonight, so if he hasn't already used that fast repair, I would be surprised, but I'm fairly certain he's towing, so Yeah.
Yeah, that is tough.
Also, Chris Perry got disqualified.
Yeah, Chris Perry more than likely met the incident counter here to get disqualified, as this race has been an absolute war zone.
Oh, and it's only gonna get better from here because we're gonna have, I don't know, 5 laps to go, maybe 4 or 5. So, yeah, we have a couple cars staying out on older tires. Some cars pitting. Who's to say if they're gonna take 2 or 4? Yeah, things are gonna get really silly really quickly.
Yeah, that I agree with. You see a whole gaggle of cars down in pit lane. That's going to be James. No, that's going to be Nate Lesko who's out first. So Nate Lesko wins the battle on pit road. You see John Smith, GT Irizarry there, Blake Cannon, James McRae, as well as the rest of the drivers. Yeah, I agree, man. With what we've seen so far, I seriously don't know what to expect in these final X amount of laps. Probably more than likely going to be 4 laps to go.
This looks like 3 cars have stayed out: Harris, Braylon, and Chris Topping. So this is it's going to be interesting watching the cars with the fresher tires try to make their way through. I think Lesko may have taken 2 with how quickly it seemed like he got out compared to everyone else. I think at any rate.
Yeah, Travis Everett 100% took 2 tires. Nate Lesko took 2 as well. Chris Toppings, Gary Braylon, Brad Harris more than likely going to be taking all 4 here. As we get set here, iRacing official pace car lights going to go out, as we will have 4 laps to go when we go green, and it has been a spectacle, that is for sure. I mean, this has been probably the most action-packed race of the season. I can't even hold you fine, ladies and gentlemen that are watching here. Thank you so much for inviting us into your homes here tonight on a Wednesday night. Hump Day means Tobacco Road. We are in week number 12.
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist.
I enjoyed that commercial, man. It's so long ago, too, it seems like, as iRacing official pace car going to pull into the safety of the pit lane, although with what we've seen tonight, even the pit road isn't safe. Brad Harris gets out to an amazing start, and look at Nate Lesko just pushing Gary Braylon against his will. Nate Lesko now down to the inside.
Harris shut the door in his face. My goodness.
Oh my goodness, and they're around. Travis Everett's around. McRae
up into John Smith, and John Smith up the wall. My goodness.
Oh no, we've had a big one. There's been a massive one at Kansas. GT Irizarry with a meatball flag. What is going on in Kansas, man? We are not in Kansas anymore. We are not. I promise we're not. This is an alternate universe. We are in based reality or something. I'm not sure.
There's no place like the garage area. There's no place like the garage area. Oh, man.
Oh, no, as we're flipping through the wrong people, unfortunately, that this happened to. We get a little bit of a chopper cam here. The Racer Nexus chopper. We'll get to see
contact. I think that might have been Chris Toppings who got up into John Smith, sends Toppings around, which leads to McRae going around into James Johnson. And then you see the death wobble's gonna happen to James Johnson. And he goes right back up the track into the wall, clips John Smith. John Smith has already left the session. Oh, and just gets Irizarry with him too.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Wow.
It was extended as well. It was a whole bunch of this car just barely hitting this other car, and then that car barely losing control, barely hitting another car, and oh man, that was a very small inconvenience that just happened to occur around 8 different cars, and it turned into the biggest wreck of the night for sure.
And so far, knock on wood for his sake, that worked out as well as it could have for Nate Lesko. He's going to be on the front row here, past 2 of the 3 cars that stayed out, and next to the other car that stayed out. And a good chunk of his competition that were also on fresh tires got nuked in that situation. So really the one major person that he's got to look out for is Blake Cannon, who's going to be restarting likely behind him, depending on what lane Brad Harris chooses to restart in. But yeah, it looks like Harris is going to be keeping the inside. So yeah, so look for Lesko and Blake Cannon to be sending it from oblivion around these 2 on the older tires.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And after all the hardships, all the turmoil, basically, it felt like we fought 4 world wars in this race tonight. Blake Cannon has somehow, against all the odds, found himself in a position to contend for a win here tonight. And, oh man, there is just no telling. There is quite literally no telling what is about to happen. Lights are out on the pace car, which means when we go green, it's going to be a green-white checkered here. 2 sticks are going to be down in the, or to the ground, I should say, for our flagman up in the air, Mr. Barney, the iRacing official flagman. Very good, Barney, very nice, or very evil, depending on how you depict it. There is some lore around him on Reddit. I did actually get into a rabbit hole of reading it in bed last night. People have actually created lore for Barney the Flagman. iRacing official pace car going to pull into the safety of the pit lane for the 10th time tonight. It's going to be our 11th start here at Kansas. Brad Harris, he's got old tires. He's got 2 championship contenders right behind him. What is he going to do about it?
Now Lesko's got to worry about Blake behind him. He's got to make sure he does.
Oh,
No,
no!
we're wrecking again!
And that was Thomas McLaughlin that got around, and he got into Scott Matthews. And Travis Everett caught up again. Same with John Oliverio. Oh, no.
Looks like a meatball for McLaughlin.
So you have the 81 of
Oh,
Brandon
boy.
McLaughlin is going to get a meatball from the spin that the 36 of Thomas McLaughlin kind of created.
McLaughlin on McLaughlin violence.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, there it is. Just a chain reaction again. Just 2 cars losing control in opposite directions. It's a nightmare for a driver.
Yeah, you're just having to, you're really just praying at that point. Full Jesus, take the wheel. There's nothing you can do to really figure out what's going on. You're just hoping and praying. And yeah, it just looked like the 36 a little loose down into the 7, knocks the 7 back up the track, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, that is all she wrote. So that was actually a natural, due to the way that the laps lined up. That was a natural green-white checkered. So now we will be going into actual overtime here, and this is probably being a bad broadcaster on my behalf, but I actually don't know how many green-white checkers we go through here in the Tobacco Road Sim Racing Next Gen Cup Series.
So that last one actually was green flag, green white checkered attempt number 1. So we are on the 2nd of 2 attempts. So this is going to be it, folks at home. No matter what happens, this is going to be the end of the race.
So no pressure for the likes of Nate Lesko and Blake Cannon. We'll get you back down trackside. Hear that wonderful roar of these next-gen cars. But as we look at the lights on the iRacing official pace car, they are still going to be flashing. We'll go at least one more time around because there are a lot of drivers here in the pit lane. Brandon McLaughlin, James McRae, and John Oliverio, just to name a few. Brandon McLaughlin does have the black flag, so after his service, he is going to have to serve that. James McRae and John Oliverio, they've been in pits for a long time. There's actually a pretty good... These guys are probably just going to end up calling it. Well, no, John Oliverio threw everything, man. He is back out on track.
And the crucial thing to keep in mind is that caution came out a split second before Lesko was able to just inch ahead in front of Brad Harris. So Brad Harris is still your race leader. Looks like switching it up. Harris is going to take the outside, which means he's going to have Lesko on the inside and Blake Cannon, who's going to be restarting at third. So we'll see how this works out.
Yeah,
I can't say it's the wrong decision, can't say it's the right decision.
I think, so in my personal opinion, I think maybe his thought process here is, I mean, he is the leader, so he ultimately decides when to go. So in knowing that, he is confident that he will be able to get around Nate Lesko and tuck down to that inside line. And the reason he wants to pick the top, in my opinion, is because being on the top, that's going to eliminate the momentum coming out of turns number 1 and 2 for the likes of Lesko if they were to be swapped. So I think that might be the strategy at play here for Brad Harris, but we'll have to see, I mean, how it all boils down. The time is now, and I'm not talking Mr. John Cena, the never seen 17. Brad Harris is going to cross that Geico restart line. It's going to bunch up on that top line side. It's going to start with James Johnson, and they're still bunching up. Brad Harris can't get around Nate Lesko, so that's going to be the position just taken for Nate Lesko. Everything that could go wrong did just then for Brad Harris.
I don't know. Harris is still there. He held on to the outside quarter panel. He's got the momentum, but here comes Lesko on the fresh tires.
Blake Cannon around the top as well. Yeah, Blake Cannon's going to try to get around the 9 of Brad Harris. He's going to. We are official, ladies and gentlemen. After this lap, we will have a winner. Blake Cannon to the outside. The 20 of Nate Lesko favors the inside more. Blake Cannon hit the wall.
Harris is wrecking.
Harris is wrecking. He's with the 77. It's going to get everybody involved. And Nate Lesko, who's at the front of it, is going to say thank you very much. And he is going to win here at Kansas. Blake Cannon, P2. Thomas McLaughlin in the 36 is going to bring home the podium. GT Irizarry missing out.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Just wow.
Wow is right. That was crazy. What a race from start to finish. Wow. I still can't believe what we just saw. It looked like we were going to have about 10 different winners there. As Nate Lesko running into, I believe that might have been his teammate there. I don't think that was anything malicious or mean. But Nate Lesko in the number 20, he's going to claim victory here at Kansas. And after, oh man, what seems like ages since Nate Lesko has been able...
Positions he needed to, because he had to work for it when, like right after that final stop, you know, he was restarting in 4th. Behind a bunch of cars on older tires. He had to work for it. That could have easily gone pear-shaped, as we saw it go pear-shaped for basically everyone that was involved in that subsequent huge wreck. So he had to absolutely work for it, and a fantastic job to bring it home.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It was a very, very strong performance from those drivers. And that's going to take us to our Apex Sim Racing post-race show here on the Racer Nexus channel. And our first interview that we are going to have, I believe James has caught up with the 44 of Blake Cannon.
Yeah, Blake, James in the booth, you got a copy.
Yeah, I got something. I don't know if I got a copy. I don't know. Hopefully some better luck.
Yeah, that's boy howdy. I don't think that's a race any of us will forget. Just try to describe what on earth that we saw there tonight.
And I don't know. I was I was really anticipating a really good race. Kansas always usually runs pretty good. Usually gets pretty wide, but I don't know if it was the cool temperatures, not a whole lot of sun. Let's see. Yeah, track temperature was 86. So, optimal conditions. So we were super fast around the bottom. And, when you go that fast, that a mile and a half, it just dirty air is twice as bad. So, yeah, if anything could have gone wrong tonight for me, it for sure went wrong.
Yeah, we saw you catch quite a few bad breaks. So first of all, it was a bit surprising to see you start 14th. What exactly happened in qualifying there?
Oh, man, just being dumb. They give you 5 minutes and, you have 5 minutes to qualify. And if you're like me and you go out there and, you spin out, then you forfeit your chance to qualify. So just stepped on my pecker in qualifying, nonetheless, of course. Made my night really long, and then having to drive through the field. I did make a mistake tonight and spun off turn 2 and collected Brandon. So I do apologize to him and anybody else who got involved. But man, then I had to go to the bag, do it again. Pitted on a green, got trapped a lap down because of caution. Got back to the front, and then got spun out on pit road. Just unfortunate. I mean, I don't even know what to say about tonight, Nant. Just glad tonight is over with.
Yeah, but other than all that, it was a really great night for you.
Yeah, ultimately, I hate to say it, but nights like tonight is what wins championships. You gotta scratch and claw on the worst nights and get as many points as you can. So I didn't maximize points tonight, but I definitely salvaged a good night. So moving forward, if I win the championship tonight, is definitely one of those nights that you gotta put an asterisk aside as what could have helped that out. So, but first and foremost, I'm just super happy for Nate. He's been really fast and either had really bad luck or just made some mistakes in previous races. So, congrats to him. He definitely deserved this one tonight.
Absolutely. Great run for you tonight. Any sponsors, plugs, and shout outs you'd like to give before we let you go?
Yeah, man. Just got to thank LJG Racing. Everybody over there that stands behind me and, allows me to come out here and support them and represent them. I hate we come up a spot short, but, we had a really solid run. Thanks to everybody at Tobacco Road Sim Racing. This league's a lot of fun. Tonight was a little off. I was kind of surprised, but I know next week we'll be back. I got to thank you guys for the broadcast. Mac, he always does a good job. James, it's good to see you in the booth. Man, I'm just glad tonight's over with. Ready to get to the Roval, and just thankful to be talking to you guys.
Absolutely. We appreciate you, Blake, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
I hope so too, man. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, you too, Blake. Appreciate the kind words there from Blake Cannon. But switching gears, we're going to go to our race winner here tonight in the number 20 Cap'n Crunch Camry. It's going to be Nate Lesko. Nate, man, I feel like it's been so long since I've actually spoken to you in the booth. How are you feeling, bro?
Good. I'm happy for sure.
Well, I made a discovery with your paint schemes. I think there's a theme to them, and I think they're childhood addictions. Is that true?
Yeah, you got it. They have to be colorful though. But yeah, childhood addictions. Yeah. Even the Pulps one,
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, man, tonight seemed like legitimately a war zone in the racing world. I mean, anything that could have happened did happen. Walk me through it. What was your frame of mind like? How was the mental as that race kind of started dwindling down and it was just caution after caution?
The beginning race was fine. I felt like we went for a while, but I think it's just hard to pass with all the dirty air. So towards the end of the race, everybody was going to take everything that they could at the end there to gain the position. So unfortunately, turned into that. But I mean, it made for some fun restarts there at the end.
Yeah, that is 100% true. And speaking of that, restarts, you were absolutely insane at all night. It just seemed like anytime you were near the leader, you just had a fantastic jump, and it led you to getting on the inside and getting a lot of those overtakes on that opening lap. So can you kind of go into depth on that about, is that something you practice? Is it something you pride yourself on, or did the stars just kind of align on that tonight?
Are you talking at the end of the race there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had better tires, so that always helps. But I could drive it in there a little bit harder. So I mean, it's really no braking into the first turn. You could really push it. You just had to be confident that it would stick. Fortunately, it did, and I mean, I'm glad that made me a little nervous there. I wasn't gonna make it to the end going 2 green and white checkers because I ran out of gas there at the start finish line.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did not know that. That is cool to see. You're always on top of the fuel strategy, it seems. But we're going to let you get out of here and celebrate. But before we do, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out for the performance here tonight?
Yeah. Wanna shout out Blake. He's been an open book, honestly. If you have questions, I'm sure anyone can go to him and just ask. And he's always fun to race against. So I appreciate racing with him and all the other guys. So
Yeah, well, very good words on behalf of Nate Lesko. He is going to be your winner here tonight at Kansas. Hopefully, talking to you here up in the booth becomes a commonality as we get down towards the chase. So hopefully we'll see you next week, and good luck on the rest of the season.
all right, thank you.
Well, James, that is going to do it for us, and man, what a race it was.
Yeah, my first race as part of the broadcast team in the series, and boy howdy was I treated to a wild one. That was just absolutely crazy. I don't think this is a race that many of us will ever forget. That was just absolutely wild, and incredible job by Lesko to end the winless streak and get back into victory lane.
Yeah, I agree. And to make sure you guys at home don't forget, we'll take you through the results. Nate Lesko led 42 laps tonight, and it was good enough to get it done on the final lap. Blake Cannon, part of LJG Racing, coming home in P2. Thomas McLaughlin, who did not step into the waiting room in a timely enough manner, so I do apologize on that, but he is going to finish P3 here for Nap Daddy Racing, and what a result it was for him. GT Irizarry is just barely going to miss out, not placing P2 anymore, so that streak is fortunately or unfortunately over, depending on how you look at it. Travis Everett going to be in P5. John Oliverio and James McRae are going to bring it home 6th and 7th, both part of JC Esports. James Johnson in the 48, going to bring it home in P8. Chris Toppings going to bring it home in P9 with Gary Braylon rounding out your top 10. Brad Harris, Scott Matthews, the Viper, Bruce Velasquez Munoz, Brandon McLaughlin, John Smith, Curtis Preston, Patrick Millette, and Chris Perry are going to round out the rest of your grid. We appreciate you guys for inviting us into your home here on a Wednesday night. If you are in the market for any sim racing equipment, make sure you go to apexsimracing.com. Use code RacerNexus for 5% off. Get yourself a little bit of that cheddar back for your efforts. Also, big shout out to Track Cams for Gourmets. That's trackcams22.com. They provide all the car and track cameras you see here tonight and across all of the Racer NEXUS broadcast. It's been a joy to be here tonight. It's been a joy to share the booth with you, Mr. James Watson. That is going to be it for us. If you want your race broadcasted, make sure you hit up our boss man, Rob Campbell. You can find the Discord down in the description of the live stream. You can get connected with him. We'll figure something out on how to get your league broadcasted. Also, if you have any interest in joining the guys here on a Wednesday night roll in the Tobacco Road Custom or Next Gen Series, I don't know why I said custom. I apologize on that, but their link will also be in the description down below, so you can join those guys. You can have a little bit of fun on Wednesday night racing if that's your thing. But that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you in the next one.